Okay, let's start. Okay, let's start. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Today we are going to finish chapter 2, and we'll learn something which is useful for all the future labs and assignments. Okay, and first we are going to finish chapter 2. Last time we were here, we learned. Oh, sorry, you are here. Yeah. You can use both, okay, if you want. So last time we were here, we learned the label controls, okay, label controls. And we are going to use this label control in most projects, labs, and assignments, because labels, sometimes you use a label control to display something. For example, I want display. So this text box is for student ID. Use a label control to display that these two words, student ID. Sometimes you need to use label control to display the output. For example, when you calculate the final billing number, you do want to output the final number to a label control, okay, label control. So last time we learned these properties: text property, name property, font, border style, and auto size, text align, okay? So, and for align, handling text align property, you have these kind of things. And we need to use text property to display the results, okay, the results. So here is one example. Okay, let me still use Visual Studio 2017 to show how we can use label control. Okay. I do this. So you create a new project, okay? Create a new project. So we do Windows Form application.NET framework. So remember, when you create a new project, the first step is to change the name of the project, right? Let me use the default name, Windows Form Application 1. And also, when you are using application gateway, so you need to change the location. I have emphasized this for multiple times, okay? So you go here, you will see that you use S drive, okay? That's very important. If you use C drive or other drive, your work is gone. You will lose your work for sure, okay? You have to use your S drive, okay? That is important. So I use my S drive and I have a C# folder here. So here I create select folder here. So I will have a project name is Windows. Let me change name. My demo project, right? Just change a whatever name. So we pick Windows Form application. We pick location as the S drive and we click OK. Okay. So you see that in this case, the Visual Studio is creating the new project. Okay. By the way, so for students who are not familiar with computer programming, so I recommend you to use Visual Studio 2017. Okay, because you will see the same interface. So as pictures and graphs in the textbook. So this is Windows Form application. So last time we learned how to add controls, right? So we could do toolbox, right? So we have general. So we have all Windows Forms. You pick all Windows Forms, and you have all the controls we are going to use in this course. Okay. And in this course, we are going to use what? In this example, so we are doing label control, right? Label control, you put label here, let this label 1, okay? So when you add a new control on the form, the first step is to rename, okay? Rename the control. You see that now the name of the label is label 1, which is the name created by Visual Studio C# automatically. So you need to rename the control in the first place. So let's rename it as output label, right? You see that I follow the camel case convention, right? Naming convention, which is the first word output. We will start with a small letter. The second word label, we will start with a capital letter, okay? In the future, when you rename your project, so you need to follow this naming convention. It is because this is, you learn that and you're professional. And when we grade your submission, your labs and your assignments, so this naming convention will also be graded because even though you have a different name, the functionality of the application is okay, but so you need to be professional. Okay, that's it. So you need to rename the label first. Then, for example, I do not want auto size. Okay, I want fixed size of label. I pick it false. Okay, you see that now. You can control the size of the label. Okay, size of the label. And I want another control. So I want another control, which is button, because I want to show the example how to use label control. So for button, you can click button. So you have a new button on the form. Okay. So similarly, when you add new control, so you need to rename, right? You rename the control. So I rename it as my button. Okay, I rename it as my button. Okay. So the text displayed on the button is not it's button 1. Okay. So you need to change it to, for example, I change a different name. I click me. Okay, click. Okay. So you see now I have a label and what? And it is the button, a label and a button. Okay. So the next thing is, for example, you see on the slides, right? On the slides. So we would like to do this, right? Show answer button. So basically, the functionality we want to achieve is when we click the button, some text will be designed, will be displayed, right? Will be displayed on the label. That is what we want to do. Here, let's go here. So when we want to do something for the button, remember we need to create an event handler. I believe for some of you, right, you have started lab 1, or some of you have finished lab 1, okay? Basically in lab 1, you practiced how to add controls and how to create event handlers and how to write code for these event handlers, right? When we want to create an event handler, so basically we double click, right? We double click the button or the control. We click here, double click. Okay, you see, when you double click the control, you create an empty event handler. So that's one thing I emphasized last time, which is for some of you, when you work on your project, right, you use your laptop, you use your touchpad, right, for clicking here, clicking here, clicking there. So this may lead to some problem. For example, when you use touchpad, right, move your mouse here to there on the design phase, right? When you have multiple controls on the form, so you may click some controls unintentionally, which means you will create some empty event handler. It means that in your final product, even though there will be no problem for the functionality, but you will have a lot of empty event handler, a lot of redundant code, right, in your work. You will lose point because of that, because it's not professional. You have redundant code. It means you need to be careful when you work on your project. Do not double click here, double click there, okay? That will create a lot of redundant code. So that's the first thing I want to mention. But when it happens that you create some empty event handler, when you create such event handlers, so you need to delete those empty event handlers. Okay, we are going to learn how to delete event handler later. Okay, so you see, I create an event handler, and so I want to use this example, right, to display some preset text on the label when I click the button. So you see that we use text property. Okay, text property to display the text in the slides. We want to display the text Theodore Roosevelt. Okay, so we can use arbitrary text here. So you see that. So my label is output label, right? We use text property. So when you go to slides, the format is equal sign, right? Equal sign, and followed by a string. So if you want you to use a preset text, so you need to use double quote, okay, for the string, double quote. So here we have, I want this ISM 3232, okay? I want to display that text. So in the end of each statement, you need to follow it with a semicolon, okay? Follow it with a semicolon. So output label dot text equals ISM 3232. That is the definition of the event handler for my button. So now everything is done. So if you try to run the application, okay, for example, click start. So you have a start button here in Visual Studio C# here, okay. If you click start, you see that Visual Studio C# will build the project and run the application, okay, run the application. So you see that I have a label. So default text is label 1. I have a button, right? So for the event handler, when I click the button, I will see the text ISM 3232 in the label. Now let's check. I click it, you see the text in label is, now it is ISM 3232, okay? So that is one example how we use a text label control to display something in the label, okay? In your project, you are going to do something and you're going to have some output. So for these output areas, you need to use label control display the text. Okay. So that is something about label control. Let's go back to this example. So we use equal sign to set the text property. So the item receiving the value must be on the left of the equal sign operator. The text property accepts a string only. If you need to clear the text of a label, simply assign an empty string. So it is like this, right? For example, in this example, right? So in this example, if I want to clear the text, right? I just use empty quote, you see? So I still use double quote, but it is empty quote, right? So I save my project and I rerun it. You see that when the application starts, right, the text displayed in the label is label 1. Now, in my event handler, I want to clear, right, clear the label area. When I click the button, so I click me, you see, so the label is empty. So the text is gone, right? So this is how we clear a label with an empty double quote, okay, with empty double quote. So you need to use it for most applications you are going to work with. Why? Because so for applications, right? When you have some inputs, you will have a reset button. Reset means so all the input areas will be reset to the default setup. So in this case, if something has been input, right, in the text box, something has been displayed in a label. So in these cases, so these things has to be cleared, right? How to clear a text box, how to clear a label, this is how we clear it, right? So we use empty quote. We use empty quote here to clear the project, to clear the project. So this is label control. The next topic we are going to learn is making sense of intelligence. What is that? It is in Visual C#, right? So Visual C#, Visual Studio will give you some help. Will provide some help, which means give you some hint. Make your work easier. For example, if I want to find my label control, right? I delete this sentence, right? I want output. I want output label. The label is, you can say, I want to type output, right? So the hint is given here, right? The hint is given here. You have several options here, and you do not need to type the full name of the label. You just need to select it, double click, right? Double click, it's there, okay? You see, when I click, when I want to use text property, I place a dot, right? You see, all possible properties are given here. You do not need to type text. Instead, you can just select text and double click, right? Double click, okay? You see, so some useful hints will be given in Visual Studio. That is IntelliSense, okay? IntelliSense. So IntelliSense provides automatic code completion as you write programming statements. So it provides an array of options that make language references easily accessible. With it, you can find the information you need and insert language elements directly into your code. It means that you have some useful help from IntelliSense, okay, IntelliSense. So the next topic is picture box control. So we are going to use this control in the second part of the lab 1, okay? If you have started the lab 1 or you have finished lab 1, you see that we use it, okay, we use it. So a picture box control displays a graphic image on a form. Commonly used properties are image, specifies the image that it will display. Size mode specifies how the control's image is to be displayed. Visible determines whether control is visible on the form at runtime. So you see that you can also create clickable images. So you can double click the picture box control in the designer to create a click event handler and then add your codes to it. For example, if you have a picture, right, picture box, you can create an event handler, okay? And you can do this another example, how you can create clickable event handler. So you are going to practice it, right, today in lab 1 if you have finished. So you have practiced, okay? So in the lab menu, lab 1 instruction menu, we have detailed steps, right? Step-by-step instructions. So I have also posted videos on Canvas. So my suggestion is try to learn the materials first. Then you can use a video as a reference to help you to finish the project, okay? Finish the project. Do not just start to watch the video without any learning, because in this case, you may also be able to complete the project without any problem, but you will lose an opportunity to learn. That is very, very important for a computer programming class. Remember, so ISM 3232 is not a fun class. It is not a case study-based class. So it is a technical class. So we learn computer programming techniques in this class, okay? In this class. So next theme is sequential execution of statements. So programmers need to carefully arrange the sequence of statements in order to generate the correct results. So in the following example, the statements in the method execute in the order that they disappear. Okay, you see that here we have an event handler, show back button click is a button. So we have two statements here. First one is card back picture box dot visible equals true. Second one is card face picture box dot visible equals false. So you need to understand for these two statements, the first one will be executed first. After it finishes, then C# will execute the second statement. Okay, it means first, the card back picture box will be set to visible. Secondly, card face picture box will be set to invisible. Okay, So for this example, so you change the order of these two statements may not be matter. It doesn't matter. However, in the future, you will learn some very simple algorithms. When you do some calculations or do some variable manipulations, so the order of the statements will matter. Okay, you need to understand here. So for all the statements in the C#, so the statements will be executed with a sequential order. First, finish the first one, first statement, card back picture box dot visible equals true. Then C# will execute the second one, card face picture box dot visible equals false. Okay, sequential execution. So incorrect arrangement of sequence can cause logic error. For example, if you have all the required statements, but the sequential pattern is wrong. There are some problems with the sequence, right? Then your results will have some problem. Okay, you will have the wrong results. So that is something you need to understand. Okay, for these things, for the things I have mentioned here, so if you already have some coding experience, so you're fine. You may feel that I'm boring. Okay, I say too much. But remember, in the class, I think usually there are more than 50% of the students who are new to computer programming. So they have no idea how to program with a computer, right? So in this case, these things are important for them. That's why I explain all the details here. Okay. So another thing you need to remember is comments, blank lines, and indentation. These are useful hints and formats. So first thing is, so what are comments? So comments are not valid or useful statements. So comments are brief notes that are placed in a program source code to explain how parts of the program work. Basically, comments are useful for people who are not familiar with the code or with the application. Why it is useful? You may want to think about, so I write the code, I build the application, I'm familiar with everything, and why I need to write comments? Because there are two reasons why we need to write comments. The first reason is, so for a large project, right, it may take a long time period, like 1 year, 2 years to finish, right? For example, let's assume, right, you're working in a game company to develop a video game, right? So if you have played a video game, you may understand it may take 3 to 4 years to develop a video game. Okay, so in this case, it takes a long time to develop an application, and you need to write a lot of statements, a lot of methods, a lot of things. It means you're familiar with the code today, right? After 1 month, you forget something. So in this case, writing useful hints or comments can remind you quickly about what you have done. Okay, that is the first reason. The second reason is some other programmers or some other people may also need to read your code. For example, when you work on your part, and some people will collaborate with you for the project, right? He or she has to read your code. In this case, if there are no comments, reading the code will be very, very challenging. Reading the code will be very challenging. So in this case, you want to write some comments there to help you and other people to understand the coding part, okay, the coding part. So that's why it is very useful for comments. So in this course, in the labs and assignments, so you will see that for the grading part. So we will require you to write useful comments. Why? Because we want you to be professional when you finish the class. So writing useful comments is one way to show that you are professional. Okay, you are professional. For example, in the application I just worked with, so I have no comments here, right? So I want to write a 1 line of comment here. So how to write a comment? You have a double slash, right? You have it here. So I write comments for this sentence, right? Output.text equals the empty code. basically I want to clear, right, the label, right? You see, I write one comment which is to clear the label, okay? So that is one comment. So in the future, when people read your application, people see that, oh, for this comment, it is to clear the label. It means that for this statement or for several statements after this line of comment, basically, we want to clear the output label, okay? So writing useful comments is also important for professional programmer, okay, for professional programmer. So a line comment appears on one line in a program. You can see that is the format. In this example, we have one comment which is make the image of the back visible, okay? Which is this statement. So a block of comments can occupy multiple consecutive lines in a program. Here you see that when you want to write multiple lines of comments, you have this pair slash star slash, okay? This pair of symbols are used for multiple lines of comments, okay? Multiple lines of comments, okay? So also use blank lines and indentation. So programmers frequently use blank lines and indentation in their code to make the code more human readable. You see, right, we have two examples. So on the left, so which is namespace wage calculator, which is a very simple example. You see, this is the first level for namespace, right? So in the second level, public partial class level, you see we have some indentation, right? We indent, the code are indented, right? With certain space, okay? So, and we have another pair of curly braces. Now to the third level, we have public form, which is method level, right? In this level, you see, we have some further indentation for these different methods, right? Inside the methods, for the statements, we have the next level of indentation. So these indentations can help programmers or the code readers to understand the structure of the code. You see, from the left, right? It is easy for everyone to see that. So the first level is this, right? From here, namespace here to the end of the curly braces, right? For the second level, so it is clear that the structure is start from here to there. Third level, we have two different methods, right? It is very easy to observe. So the structure of the code. Also, you see that here between these two methods, form method and exit button click method, these two event handlers, we have a blank line, right? We have a blank line which is used to separate these two different methods. So when we want to separate these two different methods, it is clear for everyone to observe, oh, we have two methods, right? Inside this coding part. However, if you observe the example on the right, you see, at first we have no indentation. Every single line starts from the beginning, right? Secondly, so we have no blank lines, right? So it is very hard. So for C#, if you write this part, it still works. However, it is very hard to read, right? Read the program. It is very hard to manage the program, okay? So this is useful format. It means that when you prepare or when you work on your project, you need to follow the left-right pattern. The right pattern is not wrong, but it is a bad coding style, okay? Bad coding style, okay? Blank lines and indentation. So this topic is how we can write the code to close application form. So in this case, so to close an application's form in code, use the following statement, this dot close. You have a pair of bracket, right? A pair of bracket. So I have parentheses here. So a commonly used practice is to create an exit button and manually add the code to it. For example, if we go back to this application, right? to this application. So on the design phase, we already have a click button. We want an exit button, right? We add a second button on the form, double click, right? So we have another button, button 1. So remember, when you add a control on the form, the first step is to rename the control, right? So name now is button 1. So we are going to change to exit, okay? Exit, okay? And the text on the button will also be exit. Okay, exit. So now we have an exit button. So for this button, so the objective is when we click the button, right, the form will be closed. It is closed application. So double click this button. So event handler, exit button, exit click will be created, right, will be created. So here we are going to do this, right, dot close, right, close, a pair of parentheses and with a semicolon, okay, this dot close, a pair of parentheses, semicolon. So in this case, so we have this close button. If you try this, right, you click start. Okay, you click start. So you have this application running. Now we have a label, we have a button, click, we have a button exit. So you click exit, you see the form is closed, okay? So for most applications we are going to work with, you need to have an exit button. So this is how we close a form, okay, how we close a form. So dealing with syntax errors, the Visual Studio Code editor examines each statement as you type it and reports any syntax errors that are found. If a syntax error is found, it is underlined with a jagged line. You see this example, right? If a syntax error exists and you attempt to compile and execute, you will see the following window, right? You see that in the example we just worked with, okay? For example, I will change, delete a semicolon here, right? So in this case, there's some error here. You see we have some hint with red jagged line, right? To give a hint that might be an error here. If you're going to start, okay? So you're running the code. You see there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? No, we run, you see, I got an error, right? So you have an error message in the window on the bottom, error list. So you click the double click error, you go to the line with error, you see, oh, we missed a semicolon. Okay, that's a problem, miss semicolon. So you put the semicolon, the error is gone, right? Error is gone. When you click start, you click start. So now the error is removed and the application can run properly. Okay, no errors. Okay, no errors. So this is how we clear syntax errors. But remember, in practice, when you work with a large project, clearing the syntax errors will be the first step to debug the code. Why? Because for syntax errors, C# will give you some hint. You follow the hint. With some effort, you will be able to clear all the syntax errors. However, C# will not be able to clear the logic errors. It means that even though you find, so in your application, so everything seems to be okay and it can run. You can run the application, but the results are not correct. It means you have no syntax error. Instead, you have some logic errors, okay? It is not easy to clear logic errors because, so you will not get any hint from C#. You have to go through your code and debug your code, okay? Debug your code. So the error window, we just see that if you have error window, so on the bottom of Visual Studio, right, you have a message, right, for errors. When you double click the error message, you will go to the line with errors and you can find and fix the error. You can find and fix the error, okay, fix the error. So Now we finish, okay, we finish chapter 1, we finish chapter 2. So any question before we continue? Any question before we continue? Okay. So if you have no questions, so we can continue. Okay, we can continue. For the remaining part of today's lecture, and first we will learn two things which are useful for the future labs and projects. Okay, I have posted videos on Canvas, but we'll try to learn those things in the lecture. Okay. After these things, I will briefly give you some comments about Lab 1. And in the end of the lecture, so you will have a small quiz with 2 small questions. Similar, we have a similar format, right? The quiz will be available for 2 hours until 7, okay? And you can use any material you want. You can talk with your classmates, okay? So the theme is you want to learn. So I expect you learn something from the coding class, because so in the department, we want to offer students with more opportunity to learn data analytics class, okay? But data analytics class, most classes, they are advanced. You cannot learn anything without computer programming. If you do not understand computer programming, you cannot learn anything, to be honest, anything, 0, okay? So in this case, you do want to have some coding experience. Then in this case, you will be able to learn some more courses, all things in data analytics. So coding is very, very important, because data analytics is to use data to find patterns, okay? In order to analyze data, you have to program. You have to write code, okay? You have to write code. So let's continue. Okay, let's continue. So the 2 things we want to learn is, first, as I have emphasized, right? If you use a touching pad, right, you move your mouse here and there, and you work on the design, right? When you have multiple event handlers, right? You have multiple controls on the form. It may happen that you double click some controls unintentionally. In this case, some redundant event handlers will be created. Okay, some redundant event handlers will be created. So you have now, if you create some redundant event handler, you have 2 choices. The first choice is, oh, I make some mistake. I may want to try to restart the whole project from 0. Okay, I want to start the project from 0, which means you create another new project and you start from the beginning, which is a bad idea. Why? Because so you waste a lot of effort, okay? Then the second option is, so can we delete the event handler? Can we delete? The answer is yes, but you have to be careful, okay? It is yes, but you have to be careful, okay? Let's see how we can do that. So for example, if I go to my code, right, I have 2 buttons. So, and when I work on my form, right, I'll work on my form, I unintentionally double click this label, right, this label twice. I don't know. I don't know. It's still working. But when I check my code, I went back and check my code. I say, wow, I have output label click. I have this event handler, and it is not useful. It is redundant. How can I deal with that? Okay. On Canvas, you can see that there is a video in which you can learn how to delete event handler. Now I show you how to do that. Okay. You see in the code, in your code part, right? You have this. Your first reaction can I just delete it? Okay, I delete this event handler. So does it work? Let's see. Okay, I delete it. Okay, I delete it. So when you delete this event handler, right? So you see, right? There is an error. The error is form1 does not contain a definition for output label click, right? You delete it, you got an error. It means it is not enough by deleting the code directly. You need to do something else, okay? Remember, that is how we delete an event handler. You can delete the code, right? Remember here, right? So this is my event handler, right? So I just delete this code, this part, the code of this event handler. When I delete it, so you will get some error, which means deleting it is not enough. Okay? You need to do something else to delete the event handler because there is an error. With the error, you cannot do anything. Okay, you cannot run the application. So remember, when you have some error, you double click it. You double click. You see another coding interface will open, which is form1.designer.cs. And in this line, right? So in this line, you have this .output label. When you double click, right? So your mouse will go to, your focus will go to this line directly. This output label .click, right? This one. And what you need to do is delete this line, okay? For example, this line is the error. I delete this line. Okay, this line is gone. When I save my project, you see that the error is gone. Okay, you go back to design phase, you go back to the coding phase, you see the error is gone, right? In this case, if you are running, you can run application. You see, the application is running without any problem. The error is gone. Okay, the error is gone. So this is how you delete a redundant or useless event handler. Okay, event handler. Let's try it again. So you double click this. You double click this label. Okay, without any intention. You create a redundant event handler output label click. So you can delete this code part. This is part of code. Directly, you got an error, right? You got an error. You go to the error. You have this line. So the thing is delete this line directly. Okay. Now the error is gone. Okay, error is gone. You can close this designer.cs. Okay, you go to the design phase, a coding part. You run the application. Now everything works fine. Everything is okay. Okay, everything is okay. So this is how we delete an event handler in Visual C#. Okay, for most students, you need to deal with that in the whole semester because so in most labs and assignments, there will be multiple controls on the form. Sometimes it's quite possible that you double click something, right? By mistake. In this case, you do not want to start from scratch, do not want to start from point 0. And you follow these steps to delete the event handler. Okay, the event handler. That is how we delete an event handler. Okay. So in the lecture, we learned twice, right? How we can delete an event handler. On Canvas, a video has been posted, right? How to learn how to delete an event handler. If you are not 100% clear and you need more times for explanation, more explanation, so try to watch the video because in the lecture we have gone over the process twice. Okay, how to delete event handler. Okay, how to delete an event handler. So in your lab 1, part 1 and part 2, if you have this problem, right, you create some redundant event handler. So this is how you delete those event handlers. How to delete those event handlers. Okay, that is the first thing I want to mention. Okay, so any question about this part? Any question? How we delete an event handler? Okay. Okay. So the next question is this. So there is also another video, okay, for the the next part. So the next part is sometimes, right? Remember, I have told you. So when you create a new project, the first thing is to rename the project, right? To the required name. The second thing is change the location of the project, especially you are running your application, the Visual Studio, on the server application gateway. You have to make sure that the project is saved on your S drive. If you're running Windows, any path is fine. Just put somewhere you can find it, where you can find it, okay? If you're using application gateway, so it is extremely important to put your project on your S drive. You see, I'm using the application gateway now. So this project has been saved, right, on my S drive, okay? So let's assume, right, this is my project. This is my lab one. I have finished my work, okay? This is my project. But you check, what is the name of the project? The name is my demo project, right? My demo project. If you check the lab menu of lab one, the required name of the project is lab 1.1 and lab 1.2, right? This is, which is not the name here. The name is different. You finish your work, what I can do? One option is start from point 0, right? Start a new project with the correct name, lab 1.1, lab 1.2, right? We do everything from the start, then have the correct name, right? Which is a very bad option because you waste all the previous effort, okay? Which is a very bad option. Another option is you can rename the project. As I mentioned before, renaming a project is very complicated. Okay, it's very complicated. Which is much, much more complicated than what? Than delete an event handler. Okay, then deleting an event handler. So I have posted a video on Canvas to show you how we can rename our project, okay? In the class today, I will teach you once how you can rename the project, okay? You see, this is my project. The name of the project is my demo project, which is not lab 1 or lab 1.1, right? I want to change the name here, my demo project, to lab 1.1. Because I do not want to start from scratch. It is tedious, it is boring, it is time consuming. I have finished my work. Everything works fine. Let's see how we can rename the project, okay? How we can rename the project. So when you want to rename the project, okay? So you first close the project. Okay, I close. Close solution. So if I close solution, the whole project is closed. You see, the whole project closed. So the project has been saved on my S drive. Okay, I want to go to my S drive. You see, this is my S drive. Okay, I have my S drive. In C#, I have my demo project, right? This is the project. And I cannot submit that because the name is different. The name is wrong. I need to change to lab 1.1. Okay. So let me show you how to change that. It is very complicated, but you can do that. So when you observe the whole process, you may have the feeling, oh, I will try to make sure that so everything is correct in the beginning. You will see it's complicated. So first step is rename the folder of the project. Okay. See, I have lab 1.1, right? This is a required name. If you check the lab manual, okay, lab 1.1. So I have the desired name of the project, but if you go inside, you see nothing has been changed. Everything is still my demo project, my demo project.sln, my demo project, right, folder, right? Everything is still the same. You just change the very root, right, folder, which is this one, lab 1.1, which is the first step, okay? First step. Now I want to open the project in C# and work in C#, okay? I want to open project. Okay, I want to open project. And I have S drive, right? I have my S drive. So this is my new folder, lab 1.1. You go there inside the project. So we have my demo project, my demo project. Everything is the same, right? Has not been changed. You pick the SLN file. So you click open, you see the project is open, okay? The project is opened. So this is the new project, okay? It's an old project. You have not changed too much. We have just changed the name of the one folder. Okay, that's it. Now you need to go to this step, Solution Explorer. Okay, Solution Explorer. So you see in Solution Explorer, everything is still my demo project, right? Now you need to work with this part. First, go to the top level, this one, Solution My Demo Project. Okay, Solution My Demo Project. So you go there, you right-click this part, My Demo Project, the top level. You pick Rename. Okay, you pick Rename. So now the design name is Lab 11, right? I changed to design Lab 11. That is the second step, okay? Change the top level. Now you see in the top level, it has been changed to Solution Lab 11. Okay, so Lab 11. Now you go to the second level because the second level is still my demo project. Okay, my demo project. It has not been changed. You go to this part, you right-click it, you pick Rename, okay? For this step, the third step, you do Lab 11, right? You click Enter. Now you see that the name of the second level has been changed to Lab 11. That is the third step, okay? The third step. Are we done? No. Still a lot of more steps ahead, right? So what is the next step? The next step is you go to next level, you go to property. Okay, you go to property. So you go to property and you right click, you select open. Okay, property, the next level property. You see inside this one, right? Inside this project, inside the property window, everything is still my demo project. It has not been changed, right? So on the left, you have assembly name. For this one, you change to Lab 11, okay, which is a design name, okay, assembly name. On the right, it is tricky. You cannot put Lab 11. Why? Because it is namespace. You see default namespace, okay? For namespace will not accept space. Okay, empty space. You have to use either letters or underscore, this kind of thing to follow naming convention, okay? That's why you cannot put Lab 11 directly on the default namespace. You can only use letters, maybe number letters and underline, okay, underline. So now we just use Lab underline 1, okay? Because other symbols are not allowed in the default naming space, okay? That is very tricky. That is the next step. Are we done? Not yet. Okay, not yet. So while you finish these two, there is another area which is assembly information. Okay, in the property window, you will see you have a button which is assembly information. Okay, for the assembly information, if you click it, assembly information, you see this new window coming up. You see everything is still my demo project, right? For this one, you change my demo project Lab 11 and the product, my demo project to Lab 11. Okay, you change it, you click OK, right? You see that now we have changed assembly name, default namespace, assembly information from my demo project to Lab 11. Okay, 3 different things. You click Save. You save the changes because you have done a lot of things here, right? You change the save. So while you change it, right? To see now the default namespace is Lab 11. Okay, Lab 11. Let me close the property window. Okay, if I want to check my design window and my code window, right? You see, namespace is still my demo project. It has not been changed to the Lab 11. But remember, from the property, right? namespace is not lab, just lab 1, it's lab underline 1, underline 1. Okay, because the naming convention does not allow, right? Space. Okay, you close the property window. So I go to this one, right? I click to the namespace, name here. You click to anywhere inside this name, my demo project. Then you right click. Okay, right click. Here you see you have option rename. Okay, rename. So the namespace is now you want to change namespace is what? It's lab underline 1, right? Remember that is the naming convention because naming convention does not allow on space, right? You only use underline. Lab 1, you see here on the right, rename my demo project. So rename will update 3 reference in 3 files, right? You click apply. Okay, now the namespace has been changed from my demo project to lab 1. Okay, lab 1. You see we have done a lot of steps. I don't remember the number of steps, but a lot. Are we done? No. Okay, we are still not done yet. Okay, so what you can do is save, click save the project, right? Now you want to close solution again. Okay, close it. Okay, close it. So you go to this lab 1 folder, right? Lab 1 folder. This one, sorry. So it is this one, okay? You see, if I go inside my lab 1 folder, you see, this solution has been changed to lab 1, but this folder is still my demo project. So we need to change the name of the folder from my demo project to lab 1, okay? Now you see that everything has been changed, lab 1. If you go inside this folder, you see everything has been changed, lab 1, right? So you may ask, are we done yet? Not yet. We need one more step to finalize the change, changing the project, the name of the project, which is you select the SLN file, okay? You right click, okay? You have the menu, open with, okay? Open with, so choose another application. You open with the notepad, okay? You open the SLN file with the notepad. You click OK. You have a bunch of lines of this, okay? You do not need to understand this, but you can see in this line, project. First is lab 1, which is fine, but the second one is my demo project, okay? My demo project. So you have changed everything to lab 1. You change the demo project, my demo project to lab 1, okay? You change that lab 1, you close it, you click save, right? You click save. Now everything is done. You see a lot of steps, which is very complicated, right? So if you miss one step, you cannot change the project, okay? You messed up, which means you need to follow all the steps to change the name of the project, which is not easy. That's why I emphasize. So when you work on the project by your own, right? So when you create a new project, make sure that the name of the project is correct. Okay, it's correct. So let's check if everything works fine, okay? I still try to open the project. Lab 1, I want to open. So I want to check the design phase and the code phase, right? Everything seems fine. Let's run it to see if everything works well. I'll click start, okay? So when I click start, you can see that it works fine. The name has been changed to the correct name, lab 1, right? From my demo project, lab 1, and there are no errors. But in order to do that, we have finished a lot of steps, okay, which is not easy. That's why I emphasize, try to make sure that you have the right name in the beginning, but when you make that have the problem, you make that mistake, right? There is something you can do. So we have went over it once, right? So what you need to do is the video has been posted on Canvas, right? If you really need that, so follow the video. Then can rename the project. Okay? Rename the project. So any question before we continue? I just teach you how to do this. So if you need more practice, right, you can create a arbitrary project, right? Then rename it by yourself. Then you practice, right? If you really want to learn. But for your project, my suggestion is still that try to make sure the project name is correct in the beginning. Otherwise, you need to follow this complicated process to rename a project. Okay, to rename a project. Any question? Okay, so I hope that if you are new in computer programming, you can still follow up, keep up with the core class materials. So if you are you have already had some code experience, right? So you will feel that I explained too much, but that's a balance, okay? So if you have a lot of code experience, so you need to turn both, okay? I can see your question is both. So basically, yeah, I will explain that, okay? For lab 1, there are 2 parts, lab 1.1 and lab 1.2, okay? So what you need to do is you need to zip each project as a zip file. 2 files, okay? Zip each project as a zip file, then submit both zip files, okay? You zip lab 1.1 as a first file, then you zip lab 1.2 as a second file, submit both files on Canvas, okay? You can zip, no, you can see it, let me show you, right? For example, you see that, this is my lab 1, for example, this is my work, right? So you go to lab 1.1, right? I want to send to compressed zipped folder, right? Or I have to close it first. I have to close the project first, then I can zip it. So you, for example, you go to do this, right? You send it to compressed zipped folder. Because the Windows is open, right? I use my zip application to zip it. Cannot open this one. By the way, you need to close your Visual Studio before you zip. Okay, I'm not closing it. I close it. It should the zipping process will be okay. Okay, will be okay. So you zip both projects in this way, right? You zip each project, then you submit these 2 zipped files. Okay, for lab 1. But remember, you have 2 parts. You need to work on both parts. Okay, work on both parts. Any other question? So this is, for some of you, this is the first time for you to program, okay? Try to grab this, think about this as an opportunity to learn. Don't try to think about, I just want to pass a class with the easiest way, okay? Try to learn because it's very useful. You are students in business analytics and information system, but for most courses you have taken, they are information system. They are not business analytics, right? So in the department, we are considering to offer some students some opportunity to take courses in business analytics. But that will assume you have strong coding background. Okay, otherwise it's impossible. Okay, impossible.